I'm just saying alleged to, say alleged, but potentially Fancy has been transcribing our emails and putting it on her Patreon.
Hey guys, this is Issues with Toddy One Skip. I am Toddy One Skip. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my world. Won't you come on in? What do you know, guys? What do you know? Don't pay attention to all this bullshit. We're just sitting here. I'm just sitting here watching the wheels go round and round as I'm sitting here watching the cell blocks. Guys, I'm here because I am calling people out. Fancy Maselli, what's up with you? Are you taking the transcripts from Into the Weeds podcast, transcribing those FOIAs and putting them on Patreon? Is that your grift, Fancy Maselli? Fancy Maselli, you're all over here. You caused breakups. You caused frictions in families. You were the manipulator. There is nothing that you feel is sacred, Fancy Maselli. Nothing that you feel is sacred. You didn't give a rat's ass about Ken and Gypsy's relationship, and you actually are part of the problem, and you know that. We've seen that. You were in the Nick Infiltration group because you started the Nick Infiltration group, and now we have all of the Dawn Boker emails because how'd Gypsy get them? How'd Gypsy get them, Fancy? Dawn gave them to her. Why didn't Dawn give them to you? Why do the people that work with you, Fancy, don't work with you anymore? Why don't people stay with you? Because you're dirty. That's what you are. You're dirty. And you've got a lot of nerve. You know, I'm just going to put it out there because, yeah. So Into the Weeds podcast had to watermark those FOIAs because last time you took them and you watermarked them as your own. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Because you're a thief. Why don't you spend your own money and get your FOIAs? First of all, supposedly, Fancy Maselli, you had all this information. You kept it under wraps so much so you didn't even go over it. You had this pot of gold. You knew everything, so you said, and managed to screw up everything, including the Munchausen by proxy when you knew better. You knew there wasn't a Munchausen by proxy. You tried to sell that story. And when Gypsy said to you, Fancy, Gypsy said to you, you're scum. I got a gut feeling about you. You're dirty. Now for Gypsy to say that to you, Fancy, and then for you to show yourself as something else, that's what you are. That's exactly what you are. You had all this information. You called yourself the self-proclaimed bullshit artist here. You, once upon a time, had the MURDER in the shed. And then you were talking about dragging bodies into the house, right? Isn't that what you were saying? And then you had Gypsy. Remember when Ryan and you did the whole, rigmarole of how that night went down? And, you had Gypsy unaliving her mom so many times. And now, I don't know, Nick is the evil devil. It is wherever the money goes, you follow your nose. Wherever the money goes, Fancy follows her nose. It's not a good look. And now, the dirtiest of the dirty says you're dirtier. How does that look for you, Fancy? You've changed the narrative so many times to fit whatever it was you were trying to fit it. And that's not the way narratives go. Gypsy knew you were full of shit. What production company? What? Anybody can call themselves with the production company. We went through this. You had nothing. You sat around and acted like these were celebrities. And because you sat there and did nothing, they went to other people. They went to other people because they got sick and tired of your nothingness, of your promises to nothingness, of signing NDAs to nothingness, because you had nobody. Your team consists of what? You never paid your team, so therefore your team never had to work. You delegate, but you delegate and then you don't trust people, and then you're over everything, and you're the one, Fancy, that causes the shit. That would be you. That would be you. And your name came up so many times in these emails and how much you weren't trusted. And then in the text messages, you didn't care what Gypsy said. You didn't care what she had to hold sacred. We're going to go with that word because, Gypsy used it once. And I don't think anything's sacred to her. But you didn't really know that at that time. You were supposedly working for her, and yet you were undermining everything, including her boyfriend. Now, I'm not a fan of Gypsy Rose. I'm not a fan of Ken's. But that's shit. That's really shit. You didn't give a shit about anything as long as you got your way. And this is still the way you are, Fancy Maselli. This is still the way you are. I saw your comment in Trixie Lane's thing to ask you. Ask you what? What does Trixie Lane have to ask you? What do any of us have to ask you? What can you bring to the table that you haven't already shat on? That's the question. Your name came up so much, you'd think that maybe you were incarcerated. Oh, maybe you were. Once upon a time ago, maybe so. Fancy. Fancy. You had all this information once upon a time ago. And it wasn't important enough for you to go through. You let other people go through the shit because you were lazy. That's what you were. That's who you are. Always a shortcut, always with no follow through. That's who you are. So now you sitting here trying to collect things and making things yours is bullshit. It's bullshit. No, you were one of the people that seemed to mess up all of the narrative for a lot of people. That's what you did. Made a lot of people start all over again on the case when you had the information the whole time, but just didn't want to go through it. Wanted to create your own little movie, your own little narrative, your own little dialogue for money, whether it was true or it wasn't true. You stand on your high horse and say, I walked away when it wasn't true. No, Fancy. Gypsy fired you. She fired you. Fired by Gypsy Rose. Something to be proud of. Guys, this is Issues with Toddy One Skip. I am Toddy One Skip. Be better today than you were yesterday. Not half as good as you'll be tomorrow. Thanks, guys.
I just think it's funny.
It sounds like something
over it.
I just make him into a new book.
Yeah.
It's fine.
No,
Whatever.
it is fine. It's just funny.
It's just funny.
I just felt the need to put that out there.